Alright people, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles Let's Play by me. And we finally did it. We have here Miss Brett, and she is going to testify herself without the help of the interpretation by Hosonaga-san. So let's see what she has to say. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burned his wrist like that. We're gonna press, of course.
Yes!
But his head was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! Ha ha ha, what fun! You hadn't realized.
The dear lady's absolutely right.
As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryunosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing?
Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes! Well, I can't. Anyway... When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast.
Yes!
As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right?
Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at that time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered the drink, correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although...
although?
Whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
Damn you. I have enough English to understand that, at least. For the benefit of the others in the court, that means bless you.
I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway... As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes.
Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life.
But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burned his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point.
Objection! And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to disprove that, this is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Oji is right.
Ah.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. I can think of some ways.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot or strangled or stabbed or thrown from a height. However a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body.
Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I've said, I always aim for flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it?
Oh no, perish the thought. Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. Oh, my honor, I, Taketsuchi Aochi, will cut down any who dares cast such aspersions.
A way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Oops, I forgot to press. What do you think, Rinosuke? I don't know, I think this could be hard work. She can speak Japanese brilliantly, but she doesn't seem to want to say very much. The more she says, the more she's likely to give away. The English woman knows that only too well. She's quite formidable. Dr. Wilson's burn tells us something, I'm sure. I need to use this cross-examination to find out what. First things first, I'm going to press her on everything she said and try to make her blurt something out. Okay, I should have pressed her on the last one. What is it, Kazuma? What are you thinking? Oh, don't worry, it's nothing. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward to the last statement, and we're gonna press. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once, and that's the end of it. Isn't that so?
Quite right, La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident.
Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand?
Ha ha ha! Killer blow! The lady's as formidable as she's beautiful.
Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi's finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Barrett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't seem quite right. Yeah, he's coughing his lungs out. What do you think, Rinosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, she's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony or the cross-examination will be over.
But that will mean...
I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a clink in her armor. Kazuma? What, Rinosuke? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Britt? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her, Inspector Hosonaga. The detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Britt's last statement. I was wondering if that might be significant, if it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing on the last statement one more time, if you think so. But this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then, I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again, we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's fast forward and press her again.
Yes!
Inferior, what do you mean by that? On the lands of the British Empire, in the country you investigate once and that's the end of it, isn't that so?
Quite right, la carnival, blah blah blah.
Wait.
Okay, so this is pretty apparent something that's... Yes, there it is again! The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right. Look at him, he's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? Oh, that's something new. I'll explain how to do it now, Renaultskill. It's all to do with the witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who is the person actually making the current statement. But by moving the marker left and right with AD, you can turn your attention to the other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with space. If you can catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with AD and focus on the detective. Then pursue him with space and see what's on his mind. Here we go! Exactly, which means that even if the investigation takes... Okay, so... let's space it up then. Yeah, what's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection! What's the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately.
Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not.
Huh?
The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved within the case.
Inspector Hosonaga,
Yes?
do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett?
Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our conscious police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Sotaro Hosonoga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle, I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it.
I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence.
The carbonated water bottle has been entered in the court record. Carbonated water bottle. The carbonated water the victim and Miss Brett shared on the day of the murder. It was on the victim's table.
Miss Brett, can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death?
Yes, it was that bottle. What was that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question.
Very well, counsel. You may resume the cross-examination, and the inspector will kindly control his fervor.
Okay, before I do anything else, I am going to examine this puppy. The label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazama? I think it's French. This must be a very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Alright, so we don't have anything here. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much, I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Inosuke! Can't do that! Oh, it was the wrong one. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Inosuke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. So how do we get the poison, which is almost for sure in this bottle, out? So we have this already. I wonder, could this be water? So what is the possibility you're talking about, man? Okay, so we checked out everything. There doesn't seem to be more to the bottle. What happens if I check out something that isn't glowing? Can't find anything all over the place. Okay. Okay, maybe. Okay, I'm just going to present the water bottle here. And that was right.
What is this? The bottle of water?
Actually, there's one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison.
Poison?
Poison?
On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor, actually died after taking a sip from his glass?
Order, order, order.
And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done that.
Giselle Pratt, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous! To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence! You little rookie imbecile! How you haven't considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
Ah,
If I may...
I will silence you forever for this disgraceful...
Ooh. It is you who should be silent. Of course.
Dear lady!
Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not. Of course. You did? Sorry, guys. Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And what did you find, Inspector? I ordered tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the chief coroner himself. No! I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you.
But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours.
I was so sure. Me too, man, me too. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, Counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit.
I'm done for.
The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Britt.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
Well, the answer is actually no. Kazuma? I'm sorry, Minosuke. I have nothing more. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Hold it!
Look who showed up.
Please wait. Isn't that?
What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotoba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in her furoshiki cloth. Well, this seems like it's still going, guys. But I guess we just save the progress, and I'll see you on the next episode when we get to know what this cloth contains. See you next time.